The south of the regular homestead is now owned by Laverne Oswald. He ranches on this part, farms it. Still all part of stuff that Laverne farms on. Now, where does Laverne live?
He lives in Billings now.
Oh.
All I know is the kids were in high school.
So Laverne takes care of that stuff on the top of the hill there too?
Yeah.
This is still, Laverne's up here and on the left-hand side of the road, and Ross Adams owns this land on the right-hand side, or on the east side of the section road. Laverne farms it. Ross is married to one of Maureen's sisters. Here's the end of the section line right here. This is what Ross still has over on the right side. How about that over there?
No.
That's somebody else?
Yeah, the guy from the hill.
Okay.
Homestead.
That section over there was the end of Laverne. And this is somebody else too?
Yeah, it's less hours.
Less hours. One of the bobolinks. Here's a part of a section that Ross Adams owns, Laverne Farms. That farm over there used to be where the Ross Adams was, their farm. Here's a section that is owned by a person named Fred. Some of the old homestead houses. This is the section that the Cooks own. This intersection over by the land, road here, was where Stephen and Martha had. Further on, and some of the other ones were Libby Pritcher and Elmer had land up in this area. This is a continuation of that section that used to be the Cooks. Laverne Oswald now owns this area. Farms it over there on the ridge down to this bottom area here where the coal are. I'm on the land that's the dividing point between the different sections. That probably over there was the center of the four sections with that land up on top where the Steve Cooks owned. And then this dividing land, this up in here where Libby had farmed and had a house on here somewhere that was supposed to have been a pretty big house. And over here on this section may have been the one that Elmer had or one of the other Cooks had, but this is the original barn that was on that section of land to fulfill their homestead requirements. Original land on it. This is believed to be the home of Steve and Martha Cook. It's in a different location from where it originally sat. This is what the inside of that house looks like. That was probably Jim and Martha's house, although it's been added on to, and it's now kind of just a shed area at the present time. Been changed a number of times probably. This old building may also have been part of the homestead and been relocated. Not 100% sure of that. Like all the buildings, now an outbuilding, a shed area. This is the building that is believed to be Libby Pritchard's original house. Again, in a different spot. Okay, this house was moved about a couple dozen feet, a little bit to the south, so it was over where that wellhead is. This was the inside of one of the windows. This is the house that I'm told the family who bought the place used to live in while they were constructing their main house, the front side of that house. It's the inside of the house area, at least a portion of it. The old chimney. Here where there's a shed spot. Somewhere in this area is some recollection of where the Libby's house was located on this portion of the section, close by to where the barn is now. I'm going to get a closer look in the barn. Like all of the original buildings, they had a wood shingled roof area. Barn area. It's a pretty simple barn. Stalls. Looking more at the north side of the barn. This would be the west side. I take that back. This is the east side. Part of this shed looks like it was the same type of construction as the shed, the barn rather. It's got the wooden slatted roof and the kind of siding boards that they had on the barn. Just thought that old tool shed was one of the original buildings also. Homestead would have gone all the way along in here. Would have been over on some of Elmer's land up in here, and depending on who else had it, but this was the kind of land that they had. Of course, other people own it now. This building looks like it's the same type of construction as the barn and the other sheds and buildings that were over there from the farmland. They've mostly used it for storage of bones up on the roof. We're at the northeast corner of the cook section, looking down, at the house we were just there, and at the land. It's a lot flatter than what it was at at Broughton. There you can see the mountains in the background, the Beartooth. And the cookland went up to the horizon, up the hill there, a little bit beyond. Oswald homesteaded this area this quarter section on the west side of the road. The east side was an area that was railroad property that a guy named George Ryburn from Broughton had first bought, and Otto bought it from him back in around 1919. This is the area that Olive Cook and later Olive Flagg had homesteaded. They eventually sold it to David Lee Fly, who was married to one of the Oswald sisters. This is the quarter section that Jim and Gladys Cook had from right about that area where there's a section road, and they had a 160 acres plot from here. It's pretty level. Goes over just past those little trees that's over there by the end of this field that's in front of me, and it went down probably over to that silo type of an area, and then come up along the road here, even with those trees that are down in there. Again, a pretty flat spot, this section. Back up over here on that section that was over there, from that section road on down, that's land that Blanche Cook had, that section right along in there, and also in that general vicinity, and I don't know exactly where, is also some land that Grace Cook had, and before she married Burl Reed. This right here, this whole section road that goes north and south, is called Oswald Drive, all the way down there, about 10-12 miles back when it joins into Highway 3. This is the Jim Cook homestead, looking at it from the north, looking towards the south, from the north corner of it, northeast corner, looking south, southwest. Looking southeast. This is another look at the Oswald homestead, Otto Oswald. He's the one who, one of his kids, Laverne, is what farms a lot of the land out in this area and owns about 4,000 acres right now. This oldest section right there was the original homestead of Otto Oswald, who married one of the Joneses girls, and then he added on different sections when he was married. This is looking eastward towards the original Steve Cook, Martha Cook, Libby and Elmer's homestead area. It's the spot up in here that the Dreves bought and are still farming on. And that was that barn area that we were looking at earlier. This is the story of the thriving community of Comanche. At one time, it was a area of about 500 homes or so, back in the homesteading times, formed by where the railroad went through. There was a railroad depot, about 5 grain elevators, 500 homes, a bunch of stores, and so forth, but one by one the homesteaders moved out, and they no longer had a need for it, and back in the mid-20s, 1926 was the last time anybody really lived here. Right now it's owned by 2 families on the west side of the tracks, with the west Comanche subdivision is the Aherns, and on the east side over here is the land, which is the biggest part of the town, and that is owned by the Hours. Their house is over there now. There's a lot of buildings over here, but the buildings have all long gone since, and it's lost track as to who the landowners actually were and where all the different lots are. That's all we know about booming metropolis of Comanche, where Cooks, Martha and Libby Cook went to stay after their land